as my evidences for my class, my reading session week 6. Because nobody signed up for this class, I did move the hours. I'm doing this class 1 hour later. I usually do, but nobody signed up. It's really sad, and well, I'm sorry. So I'm making this video as my evidences that I was prepared, I was here, I was ready. This is gonna be the same class as the last class that was earlier. So if you wanna go ahead and see a video with students, that will be appropriate. If not, this will be just me reading and explaining the activities, and that's it, okay? Just showing you the material. So we have for this reading session the history of graffiti. Let me confirm my microphone is working. Hello? Okay, it is working. Because sometimes it doesn't work and I forgot. Okay, just to confirm. Okay, we're gonna talk about the history of graffiti. After I introduce the class, I introduce like, good morning students, how you doing? I hope you're doing amazing. Let's start. I explained the title, and then this couple of rules, right? Every class have rules, so we're gonna be respectful. We're gonna try to be we're gonna try to participate as much we can. We're gonna follow my instruction. We're gonna use technology responsible, and we're gonna try to communicate clearly and respectfully. If I say something, I always tell them that if I say something that you guys don't understand, if I speak too fast, just let me know. With all the love of the life, I will just repeat it. And then we have our learning objective that will be, students will develop their reading comprehension skills through interactive activities, and this will be our discussion to just open up the class, right? So the idea is that the students say, what do you think about graffitis? I will say something like, I feel like it's art. It's an art expression, but I'm not agree that they can just do it any part they want, because that look awful in the streets without no sense or like no meaning. So I like graffiti as an art, and it should have their environment or their places that they can do it, right? Then we will do this activity where I will ask the students, like, graffiti is a way for people to express their ideas. It's for or is against? So this is for. It's a waste of money clean it up. It's engaged. Graffiti ruins public areas and makes children afraid to play in the park. Engage. Graffiti makes the town look more attractive. Four. Why should one person decide that public property looks like? Engaged. Museums and art galleries include graffiti in their collection. 4. Graffiti is art. 4. And graffiti is vandalism. Engaged. Then we will read the text. So what I usually do with the class, with the students, is we read the text 2 times. One aloud by turns. So I read one paragraph, you read another paragraph, another student read another paragraph, stuff like that, right? And then I send it to them, this PDF. The PDF have the text and have a couple activities. The activities, the idea is that they start develop the activities. I usually give them like couple time, 20, 15 minutes, depends how much time we have left. So they can just read it again, read the question, read the answer, be super sure what they are choosing, right? Because my goal in these classes is not just like, do the activities as fast as you can and that's it. No. My goal in these classes is that they learn and their reading skill comprehension improve, right? So I don't care if they don't finish. I care what they do is correct. It's amazing, and they have a justification for that answers. So we will read this, the story of graffiti. The first drawing on walls appeared in canvas thousands of years ago. Later, The ancient Romans and Greek wrote their names and protest poems on buildings. Modern graffiti seems to have appeared in Philadelphia in the early 1960s. And by the late 60s, it has reached New York. The new art really took off in the 1970s, when people began writing their name or tags on buildings all over the city. In the mid-70s, it was sometimes hard to see out of subways' car window because the trains were completely covered in spray paintings known as masterpieces. In the early days, the taggers were part of street gangs who were concerned with making their territory. They worked in groups called crews and called what they did grinding. The term graffiti was first used by New York Times and the novelist Norman Mailer. Art galleries in New York began buying graffiti in early 70s, but at the same time that it began to be regarded as art form. John Lindsay, the mayor of New York, declared the first war on graffiti. By the 1980s, it became much harder to write on subway trains without being caught. And instead, many of more established graffiti artists began using roof of buildings or canvases. The debate over whether graffiti is an art or vandalism is still going on. Peter Ballon, a New York City councilor, thinks that graffiti done with permission can be art, but it is on someone else's property, it becomes a crime. I have a message for the graffiti vandals out there, he said recently. Your freedom of expression ends where my property begins. On the other hand, Felix, a member of the Berlin-based group Reclaim Your City, says that artists are reclaiming cities for public from advertisers and that graffiti represents freedom and makes cities more vibrant. I'm sorry. For decades, graffiti has been a springboard to international fame for a few. Jean-Michel Basquiat began spraying on the street in the 1970s before becoming a respected artist in the 80s. The Frenchman Blake Le Rad and the British artist Bankis have achieved international fame by producing complex works with stencils, often making political or humor points. Works by Banksy have been sold for millions of pounds. Graffiti is now sometimes a big business, right? Then we will have this activity where the students have to let me know which one will be in the paragraph. So paragraph number 1 will be not just a modern phenomenon. Paragraph number 2, increasing exposure and attention. Let me put this to the beginning, to the front, because I'm pretty sure it's in the back. Paragraph number 3, they refer art or vandalism. In paragraph number 4, to famous graffiti, and there is no need, the future of graffiti, right? Then we have these activities. So in these activities, we have to choose the right answer. How we'll do it? We just like, why was the 17th as important decade of the history of graffiti? Correct answer B. That was when modern graffiti first became really popular. What is a masterpiece in graffiti? A full piece of graffiti like those seen on subway trains. Then number 3. What was the main motivation for the first taggers? Showing which streets belong to which gangs, right? Who coined the phrase graffiti? A newspaper and an author. Number 5. How did things change after the first war of graffiti? Graffiti artists has to find different places to paint. Number 6. What does New York City Councilor Peter Ballon say about graffiti? Graffiti is a crime if the artist does not have permission. Number 7, what does the Berlin-based group Reclaim Your City say about graffiti? And letter B, graffiti helps the public to own the streets and take control away from the advertisers. What is the outer final point? Graffiti has now become a master mainstream and make artists a lot of money. After we finish this activity, the idea is like you socialize. Every time the student have any mistake, just go back to the test, take your time, and make the correction and give them feedback, advices, and suggestions so they can be improving. Okay, if we have more time, we will do this one where we have to write the the correct word here. So people who graffiti their names are called taggers. Graffiti is usually done with spray bottles. Spray paint. Taggers' original working groups called crews. A piece of heavy fabric on which paint can be created is called canvas. Something that someone owns is called property. A person who deliberately destroys or damages someone else's property is called a vandal. If something helps to start an activity or process, we say it is a springboard to doing something. And the last one, a piece of plastic, cardboard, or other material with design cut into the reproduce that patterns is called a stencil. And then feedback, comments, suggestions, advices, and then you share this attendance link plus another link I just had ready here in the chat. I forgot to put it in my presentation, and the students will free to go. That will be everything for today. Thank you so much. I hope this is enough as my evidences. I was ready to do the class. I was here, but nobody's hanging up. Thank you so much.